safety tool. Deck length, 32 inches. Deck width, a bit more than 10 inches. Deck height, 6.25 inches. The clearance is roughly 3 inches. The wheelbase is 23.5 inches or 60 centimeters. The usable footwell, 19 to 20 inches. And of course, if you're going to use the kicktail, 27 inches. It is roughly 5 inches, 2.75 inches. Total length is 11 inches. To open up the gear drive, you need a 2.5 millimeter hex key. So yes, this is an all steel straight cut gear drive. 35T. Other types of wheels using the Kegel pulleys will work on this as well. Okay, decibel sound test. 2, 1, go. 75 to 76 decibels. You have a cup washer, and then you have bushing, and then a flat washer. They all have these kind of lubrication on it to make it not squeak. That is very nice. This is the Riptide Crank tall bushing. This is the regular size bushing. And what is installed on the Blizzard is exactly the same as the regular size bushings. But just to be sure, I'm gonna use the caliper as well to show you. 15 millimeters, which is about 0.6 of an inch. Acceleration. When it comes to acceleration, this board is insanely powerful. It's got a gear ratio of 2.7, which is considered a low gear ratio. I can't even imagine if this thing has a gear drive ratio of more than 3, it will be torquey as hell. It will be super torquey. At a gear ratio of 2.7, it is still incredibly torquey. I would say at this point it's comparable to a classic Meeple Voyager or a Backfire Zealot X.
Why are there so many cars today?
I cranked this thing like all the way down. It's getting to the point where it's gonna get deformed. 3, 2, 1, go. One thing I do have to note is that this is a shortboard, so my stance is kind of close together. Because my feet are close to each other, I'm not able to stand in that high acceleration stance, and because of that, I feel like my stance is not aggressive enough to take advantage of the acceleration that's coming from this board. Like, I feel like the board is pushing and sliding out under me because it's so powerful. I'm complaining that this board has too much power, like too much power, especially when it comes to the acceleration front. I just feel like with this much acceleration, the board should be longer. Honestly, if you guys are thinking about getting a short board and you want the most powerful one, like, this is it. And this has so much power, I don't think a regular user is going to be able to tap into all of the power this board has to offer. Deck flex. Nope, no flex. Short decks shouldn't flex, and thankfully it doesn't. The deck is composed of a multi-layer composite consisting of bamboo, Canadian maple, and fiberglass. It's a stable, sturdy, and lightweight platform. Deck concave. It's a very shallow concave towards the edges. It really enables the rider to lock in their feet without hurting them over a long period of time. The wheel wells do bulge up a little bit, but I find it pretty useful as part of the boards to lock in my feet further. As for the color, I absolutely love the pure white, hence Blizzard. It does get dirty pretty easily. top speed is 31 miles per hour. It's really fast for a shortboard. Whenever I'm going close to 30, it feels like I'm doing 50. I tighten up the bushings as much as I could using the stock bushings. Gets kind of sketchy at around 28 miles per hour. At 28 miles per hour, it still felt like the board could go a lot faster. Even on pretty flat and pretty smooth ground, the wobble is starting to kick in and I do not want to fall. So for safety purposes, I did not go up to 31 miles. I do feel like there's plenty of power and plenty of room to accelerate for this board. The range is advertised as 28 miles. I got 19.5, tested with a 190-pound rider in turbo mode.
2, 1, go! It can definitely go faster. There's definitely enough torque, but my current setup is a carving setup and it got too wobbly. So yeah, I'm gonna back off. But
Incline grade, 46%. What are hills? What is even gravity at this point? This thing just goes uphill like it's completely flat. FLC ESC 4.0. It has a 100 amp phase current ESC. This is the fastest in this class. Some of the competitors in a similar price range has only 90 amps, and they all have generic parts slapped on together. Blizzard is designed from the ground up. Everything from the enclosure to the deck to the trucks and even to the gear drives are all designed for this one board. At the price that they're asking right now, this is the de facto #1 choice if you're looking for the most powerful shortboard on the market today. It is the Acedeck Stella Blizzard Pro. The turning radius of this board is pretty good. It's one of the better ones. Of course, it's not as good as a double Gimpin truck. Currently, it's extremely nimble. If you have a 90-degree turn on the sidewalk coming up, this thing is going to be able to turn zero problems at all. I did a quick test. It's able to make a U-turn in less than 2 parking spaces. I think it can do better if you kind of sit down and kind of pull on the side of the deck.
this is where I started making the turn at this line, and then that's where I ended up the turn. It looks really far away, but it's actually pretty short. Click. And let's go to the skateboard. Boom, right here. So it's about a 13 feet turning radius. Yeah, from that point all the way over here to the skateboard. This is actually a very good turning radius. The only skateboard that can turn from the tip of this white line to within one space is a double Gimpin truck. So this did that with just a little bit more space. Considering it's not a double Gimpin truck, I think it did a great job.
The braking on this board is incredibly powerful too. Because it's not using a belt drive, you don't have to worry about it belt skipping. And because it's using really grippy MAD 105 wheels, the amount of friction that this thing can generate is quite a bit. I am very satisfied with the way that this thing brakes. I just think it's one of the better and stronger brakes out there, especially on asphalt, because I test my board on asphalt and on concrete. Asphalt is usually slippery and a lot of boards don't do well on asphalt, but this one does well on both. When I compare this to the all-new Backfire Zella X2, the thing just locks up and skips everywhere. As for power delivery, if you have tried any of the Acedeck boards, it's going to be extremely similar to that. It's smooth and it's extremely linear. The gear ratio is at 2.0. I think we just talked about this. It's got a low gear ratio, and that means it's tweaked for high speed. But I also do think there's two other reasons for them to use the 2.7 gear ratio. I think for the gear ratio to be any higher, this board is going to be super jerky. There's already a lot of power coming from the motors, and if the gear ratio is any higher, that's going to make this board incredibly jerky. I think the torque is perfect right now. It doesn't need to be any higher. The second part is that they need to fit a small gear into the all-new mini gear drive. This is an all-new gear drive made just for this electric skateboard, and it's a super tiny version of the gear drive. In order to do that, you have to shrink the gears down, and that's why the gear ratio is now lower. The motor size is 6358 at 1500 watts nominal, 3000 watts peak. The motors and the gear drive are tucked right under the board. The 6358 motors are pretty darn powerful. The battery is a 10 amp hour 518 watt hour Samsung 50S battery pack. It outputs 58.8 volts with a 14S2P battery configuration. The battery cells, battery configuration, everything is pretty standard.
Okay, let's talk about the bushings real quick. These do come with 95s in the front and in the rear. They feel too stiff. You can definitely achieve short, quick jabs. So I just did this sky bridge. The skateboard allowed me to make some really sharp turns when I put all of my weight on it. But you know, when I'm carving like this, I feel like I'm not able to access the entire tilt of the skateboard with the default bushings. It allows me to do some really shallow quick jabs, but it won't allow me to do really deep carves. I know the board feels really good. I'm definitely gonna go back and putting some crank 90s, 98s on here.
The Mad Wheel 105 V2s has the durometer of 72A. This thing feels like tofu in my hands. And when I'm riding, it feels like I'm riding on ice. I was concerned about wheel bites with the 105s, but even with really soft bushings, I still wasn't able to induce a wheel bite, so that's definitely good to know. The official acceptable wheel range is 85mm to 105mm. This is one of the prettiest remote. It is a frost see-through version of the standard Acedeck / Power remote. It is extremely slim in your hands, so even if you're wearing gloves, it's still easy to fully grip. And they changed the dial to add some really thick dial onto this remote, and it just feels so good in the hands. A couple of other things noticeable that I do want to go over. The first thing is an anti-disconnect. So this remote and ESC uses dual frequency, so actually it has two frequency bands that connects to the ESC. If one disconnects by accident, there's another signal connecting to it, making this board super safe and reliable. Of course, if you go past some military base with a Wi-Fi jammer, you're gonna crash. But for everyday rides, this adds redundancy so that when one frequency disconnects, the other one is still working. The integrated LEDs are extremely awesome as well. It's available in the front, in the back. They said the color LED is blue. When the blue color goes through the white light, it appears some sort of teal color, which still looks really, really good. And the tail light is red. The entire board blinks when you pull back on brakes. The days are getting shorter. This is one of the perfect times to get an LED board. No, the colors do not change. And I also do like the way that the LEDs are implemented. Whenever a different approach is taken in business, there's a certain degree of risk into it, right? And you can tell like Acedeck is okay with taking risks, with doing new things, right? I really do love what Acedeck is doing. The bash guards are pre-installed. These are see-through bash guards, so it lets light through and you can still see the LEDs, which is definitely really cool. The rear bash guard also works as a kicktail guard, so when you use the kicktail, it's also going to protect the underside of the board, which is really useful if you plan on using your kicktail a lot. So who is this board for? Who should buy this board? It beats any other shortboard out there when it comes to acceleration, and I can tell you the acceleration is absolutely freaking wild. This is by no means a mid-range board. This is a high-end, high-powered electric skateboard. As compared to the Power race board, the one, it's only 1 second behind it in terms of acceleration. This thing is freaking crazy, okay? If you're looking for a compact board, a short board, something that you can fit into your backpack under your desk, and you want the most power for that thing, look no further. Like, there's literally nothing else that compares to it on the market. If you're gonna get one today, I would say get this one now. Alright, thanks for watching. I do have a coupon code. If you do decide to make a purchase, please use my coupon code. You get to save a lot of money, and I do get a kickback as well. Thank you, and I appreciate all of you so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Ride safe.